Okay, yeah, that works. That works.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. So we've got PGB Group Texas, and then oops, and then we've also got PGB Group New York. PGB Group Texas is a labor services company, and the PGB New York, or sorry, PGB New York is labor services. PGB Group Texas is materials, and so that's where the differences are. We've got a deep water port in Texas and a bunch of infrastructure. But really, what the goal is we're looking at. Melissa had given me kind of a quick rundown as to what you guys or what your firm provides, and it sounds like it's essentially leveraged funding. And it sounds like it's like a 75-25 LTV structure. Is that kind of the traditional setup, or
Yeah, there's multiple steps to it. Think of us as a capital multiplier. So a
okay?
company with a good project where the project makes sense that has some capital they can deposit with our bank, we can multiply that deposit and then do multiples on the result of that loan to get even a larger leverage. So what can be done once we understand how much capital you have available now, what your funding needs are, and then over what period of time or timeline that funding is needed, we can structure a custom solution to what you're wanting to accomplish. Many come to us because they'd like to eventually get away from needing limited partners. And with our structure, that's ultimately what a developer can do. They can end up being their own limited partner because of the success they've had with our program.
Perfect. Well, that's really what we're looking to try to get accomplished. So right now, PGB New York technically does not need the funding. It's PGB Group Texas that would utilize the funding. New York's been set up since 2017. Texas has been set up since February 2023. So it's still a relatively new entity, but we've got a signed contract for $39 million in sales. And what we're utilizing the capital, or what we'd be looking to do, is to leverage and utilize our balance sheet with New York, and then leverage it to be able to pay for material to handle fulfillment of material, and that would be for Texas.
I got it. Yeah, I like the idea. I like the idea.
Yep, yep. So technically two separate entities, like I said, but I can give you the financial statements on New York. That's the one that would be taking out the loan. I've got pretty much everything in one Dropbox link that you'd be looking for: aging reports, bank statements, multiple year tax returns. So I guess it's just really, I don't know what your guys' process is. Oh, by the way, we've also got an ERTC credit letter for that's the employee retention credit for
Yeah.
1.4 million. ADP has already issued the letter to us. We're just waiting on IRS funding on it.
So you were not caught in the unfortunate rejected section.
I don't think so. We haven't gotten the letter stating that.
Yeah, there's a lot of press around that. I'm sure you're following it, but that was for companies that
Mhm.
ended up not qualifying. Sounds like you guys more than qualify for it.
Yeah.
Did I lose you?
Grant, yeah, your sound went
So
off,
we've
Grant.
yeah,
Hey,
I can provide that. Oh, sorry. Are you guys there?
yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
just dipped out for just a minute, so we might have lost
Oh,
something.
okay.
So
Oh,
let
okay.
me
Sorry
ask
about
you
that.
this: how much capital do you have to start this process, and then how much are you needing, and then over what time
Well,
period are you
well, we've
needing that?
we've we've yeah. So here's what the goal is, right? We basically need to monthly roll effectively $2 million, and the way that it's set up is that I'm currently waiting right now for a letter of credit from, or an irrevocable letter of credit, cash securitized from my client. They were supposed to get it to us last Friday. I'm expecting it to be here by this Friday. Um, but that's for $3.3 million monthly. And what we're looking for, our cost of goods, our only requirement is that we have to pay it 50% down, and which is effectively 1.8 million down. And we're looking for a $200,000 operating line. Now we've got cash infusion of about $600,000. So our requirement would really be just the 1.4 million is what the request would be. In 90-day or less accounts receivable as of December 13th, which was yesterday, we were just under 1.8, 1,784,000 in ARs. On our 90-day plus, we're at 500,000, like 560,000 on 90-day plus. Which none of our clients have ever defaulted or not paid. It's just there's a delay in getting money, but it's standard. And we've done business with them for a long time, so it's really not a concern at all for us.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is there. The RTC, the 3.3 million. Oh yeah, so that 3.3 million would then be rolling for a 12-month time period. So that's and we've got, so it's a effectively $39 million sale contract that we've got signed, fully executed. I can Melissa, I think she's got a copy of it. She's welcome to forward that over. But really what we'd be looking for is as long as we can borrow call it the 1.4 million, provided that the cost of capital is reasonable, we'll continue to utilize it, right? And if it's not reasonable, then it'll eventually, either we won't do it or we'll just we'll swap it out with a different product at some point down the road. So
sure. So there's two directions it could be headed here. It sounds like you may be looking for some sort of cash advance or factoring on one side of the coin. If we look past that to a long-term solution to what you're talking about, that would be the international funding model that we have. I'll give you an example of how that would work. I'm sure you're quite familiar with cash advances, so let's talk about the capital multiplier. I have a client who's a real estate developer. He put $1.2 million on deposit with the private bank. He had a good project that he put up as collateral for that. And he received a $5 million line of credit at 0% interest for 24 months. He paid the bank and our platform 20% of that. So the bank and the platform share in that 20% fee, and had a net $4 million remaining for him to do whatever he wanted to do with it. He put it into another product we had, which is having courtesy deposits placed in the same bank where he's doing his loan. The cost of courtesy deposits is 7% of face value. So he had courtesy deposits placed in that same institution and is now in the process of phase 2 of this funding, which will be a $54 million loan. There is a third phase to this where there's an income production piece. I won't go into that at this time. It may or may not be an appropriate solution for what you're after. I share any of this with you just to let you know that we are a provider of snap-on solutions. So we have multiple institutions we deal with internationally, international currency traders and Forex, those that trade financial instruments, standby letters of credit. We can monetize standby letters of credit. May be something you'd want to do with us, or maybe not. So there's a lot of directions we can go. The short-term factoring is the way to get cash.
So the factoring, I just don't think is going to be viable, as there's a handful of items. I just don't think that one's, because I've already talked with other ABL lenders, and factoring just didn't seem like it's the best route as of right now, based off of what the structure is. But you said monetization of the standby letters of credit. If you have a irrevocable cash securitized letter of credit. Um, uh, I understand that. I think that that's better than a standby letter of credit. In my
It sounds like you're going through a little rough patch, Grant. It's breaking up a
but
bit.
you guys may forget that we could potentially monitor one bank.
Yeah, when I
Shit.
say monetize, you
Here,
can take that
hold on
standby
one
letter of
second, guys.
credit
Yeah,
and turn it into cash.
okay. What at what leverage or at what ratio? Like if we looked at it from like a an LTV standpoint, would it be like an 80/20? Is it a 95/10 or 90/10? Is it what
It it's on a deal per deal basis. It depends on the specific components of that standby letter of credit, the participants, many, many things. But there's no
okay.
obligation to find out from us what that would be. And then if you did the multiplier with the money you got out of that, which you may or may not decide to do, your long-term goal could be to have a self-liquidating line of credit where the revenues
Yeah.
from the platform would pay the line of credit down to zero, and you'd have had the use of the funds over the period of, let's say, 2 years, which is what my real estate client did in Canada.
Okay, yeah, we would definitely be interested in doing that. So the bank that would be issuing this line of credit, and remember, this is not a standby line of, or letter of credit or line of credit. This is just a traditional letter of credit. So would something like that need to be converted into an SB log?
I'd have to have our team take a look at it. We've got experts in each one of the spaces. Some people
Okay,
come to us
because
and
I
just
can,
want something converted to cash. Some come to us and want
yeah,
the more complex solutions I've described.
I can so right now I'm in finalization of getting that LC issued, and so what I can do is I can actually make that transferable, and I can also add and put additional put additional language into this thing. So there's here, hold on one second. I'm sorry about that. But if we took that the letter of credit and uh adjusted any of the additional terms that needed to be in there, now would be the time for us to do that. So I could get that a copy of you guys to that before we execute whatever the final agreement is. I'm just waiting for the initial draft right now. Like I
Yes.
said, I should have that, I think, by this this Friday.
So it sounds
What's
like
the
you have some
general, I
flex.
guess,
It sounds like you have some flexibility in
uh,
direction you could head. Is there a deadline in terms of time?
well, I've got the one of the manufacturers headed here right now, like literally is going to be in our office here, and we're supposed to get him a check um for this amount here relative like yesterday.
Yeah.
So we are somewhat under the gun. We've got a good relationship and there is good rapport built up with the gentleman. But that being said, right, they're looking for us to get them fully funded.
So
So
I
uh
would say that on a rapid solution, the only choice would be not the international platform, but the U.S. platform. And in that platform, you would look at some sort of cash advance against what you have against bank statements. A lot of directions we could head. That can be done like in a day. If we're looking at the
okay.
other solutions that I described on the international platform, you're probably looking at maybe 60 days for the multiplier. My client got it in a couple of weeks,
Yeah, and
but that was an aberration.
okay, on the advancement, what does that look like as far as I guess terms?
Well, that's going to depend upon the situation. I can tell you this: my platform that I prefer does a huge amount of business. They've been in business for many years. They've probably got 75 institutions that they have long-term relationships with. So if I sent you or your people or whoever's your spokesperson the link to their back office, you could give the data they want, do a consulting call with an analyst, and they would let you know very, very quickly, here's what we think we could do, here's what it would look like, and here's the turn time. If we're looking for with two parts here, right? Short-term solution for your immediate need, we'll call this a week in the next couple of days. And then a long-term solution, I think, would be well worth pursuing, where we could put you in a position with our services to elevate your entire game, reduce your outgoing obligation in terms of debt, and end up operating on cash.
Okay. Okay. So what I'd like to do is if we could, if you could send that link,
I'll send it to
Melissa, if I,
Melissa and she'll forward it to you.
yeah,
And then
okay,
let me
yeah, yeah.
know. Let me know once
You know
your
what,
people
Melissa?
have submitted that, so I can follow up with an analyst after it's assigned.
Yeah, and Melissa, would it be easier if I just attached? I've got a Dropbox link that's got everything in there. Would
Uh-huh.
it be easier if I just sent you the Dropbox link and then you could just upload any of the documents and anything else that we need added? I can get it. I can get it done for you guys.
You
Sure.
can do
Yeah, that
that.
would be great.
What I'd recommend, though, before we start uploading anything to the platform, and they won't access a Dropbox because of security in their back end, is that we get this simple one-page application, which gets it then sent into the analyst's queue, so that an analyst is assigned. They look at it, see what you're looking for, and then they say, here's what we're going to need. So we give them just what they need to process what we want in a short period of time.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Grant, I have a quick question. So did your needs change as far as, I know initially when we started talking a couple months ago that you were looking at bringing over 2 vessels per month and, you know, looking at like a $6 million a month
yeah.
need.
So what we're trying to do is just figure out the short-term need right now.
Okay.
The secondary piece I think will come naturally. Yeah, but that'll slowly increase from there. And so that's where I think we would segue into what the secondary portion of this gentleman's platform is, and you know, provided everything's, you know, reasonable. I don't have any issue with it. I just want to make sure that we don't get ourselves into a position where we're too many times leveraged. You know, based on, you know, double leveraging positions. So
See, I'll tell you, I'll make another suggestion too. Let's focus on this quick turn. We'll call that a Band-Aid. But in the long-term
yeah.
picture, I'd recommend that you set up a consultation call with the founder of the platform. It took him many years to put together these relationships, and you can do a private consultation with him, give him a little bit of documentation, 45 minutes for like under $300, and then you'll give you a credit of that $300 toward whatever you close with him whenever you do. His knowledge and what you're trying to do, you put those two together, I'm confident that you would have a superior solution to what you're trying to accomplish long term.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We can, we're happy to do that. So,
We'll call that step 2. Step 1 is the
yeah,
platform that I just talked about.
Yep. Yep. Nope. That makes sense. So, okay.
So Missy, I'll
Well,
forward that to you. You get them or whoever is going to do it to complete it immediately. Let me know once it's been submitted. I'll see who the analyst is, and we'll see what we can do to give them a quick turn on a short-term solution for the Band-Aid.
hey, yeah,
Perfect.
David, is there any way that you could send me a copy of the recording so that way I can
Yes, absolutely. I'll send it to
because
Missy and
there's a
she'll
lot of
forward it to you.
information. Well,
Yeah.
okay. Yep.
I'll send it to
That'd be
Missy and
great.
she'll forward it to you. Well, this has been a
Okay,
good first
wonderful.
call. Missy, I'll forward both this recording as well as the landing page.
Okay.
Yep.
And
And Melissa, I just sent
yep.
you the Dropbox link, so you've got it. So,
Yep, I got it on my phone. And quick question. So on your cash advance program, because I've worked with several as well, what kind of interest rates are you seeing and what's the cost of capital, et cetera, typically? I know there's a range.
Well, there's about 75 different providers in the platform. And so it's going to depend upon,
Okay.
it's going to depend on the individual deal and which
Mhm.
platform member would even be interested in their deal. So rather than quote a range, since it costs us nothing to find out, let's do what we talked about in a very short,
Right.
in a day, we'll know whether it makes sense or not. And if the platform has done some work and it's not a deal, that's just life in the big lane, right? We don't care about that.
Right. Right.
understand. Well, it can't be worse than what we've already seen. So,
No, it'll be competitive, and they've got some great relationships. Depending how strong you are, maybe it's better than what you've looked at.
okay. Awesome. Sounds good. Well, David, I appreciate it. Melissa, you guys take care. We'll talk soon. Okay.
All
You
right.
bet.
Thank you, Grant. Thanks,
All right.
David.
Take care.
Always
Bye.
good
Bye,
to see you,
John.
Missy. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a great day. Enjoy
You
New
too.
York.